Well, today's project is going to be to refresh this old 25 horse Johnson. This is a 1992 25 horse. I'm the original owner. I have thoroughly abused it in the 28 years I've had it. $16.99 brand new out the box. But I wish I could buy them today at that price. I'd probably buy 10. So it's been sitting for about 3 years since I bought my new boat. Probably almost 4 years, haven't used it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub it inside and out. I'm going to replace the water pump to make sure we got good water pressure. I got a broke front engine mount and a few little nitpicking things. So first thing we'll do to get this started, we'll take a degreaser and we'll do several coats of degreasing and washing the outside and the inside underneath the hood of the motor. Well, all right, we give it a good scrubbing inside and out, and then we re-sprayed it with degreaser and we let it soak for 15 minutes. So now we'll hose it off and see what we got. It's already looking respectable. So the whole time I was spraying it, I kept the carburetor throat and the emulsion tube inlet vents plugged so it wouldn't get water in the carb and crankcase. Alright, I'm going to see if this baby will fire up. I got the fuel line stuck in a little bit of premixed gas, 50 to 1. You can see I got gas to the carburetor. I don't know if you can see in there when you pump the primer. It's priming. So, alright, this is a totally cold start from about a 3 to 4 year dormant period. This cart's kind of shaky. I don't know if I'll be able to get a good pull, but let's see what happens. Ooh, first pull, 5. And when I put it up, I put transmission fluid in the cylinder, so it's probably gonna smoke for a while. She's idling good, but I don't have any water coming out my telltale. So let me see if I can clean that out and get some water flowing. I know I got to change the water pump, but that ain't bad. Spark on the first pull and fired right up. So very satisfied. See if it'll squirt coming right off the head. Getting any water flow at all, so I'm not going to run it and overheat the motor. I was planning on changing the water pump anyway. But the main thing I wanted to see today was would she fire up. Well, she's not pumping any water at all, which I kind of expected after sitting in the shed, but she cleaned up pretty good. I'll let this totally dry out, and then I'm going to WD-40 it all to preserve it and keep it from corroding. A little bit of corrosion here and there, but all in all, not bad for a 28-year-old motor. I'll do something about this corrosion, get some paint on it, do a water pump kit. I knew the top engine mount was broken, and messing with it here, I can see the bottom engine mount is broke also. So I'll put a new set of engine mounts, water pump kit, a new twist grip handle on it, and helix in there. And man, we got us a running 25 horse. So one of the main things you want to check on these little Johnson motors is this ground wire right here. This ground wire to the coil, without that, with a good connection to all the electronics, none of them will work. Fuel pump seems to be in good shape. We'll get a water pump in it. All my little primer hoses, they're getting kind of stiff and old, but they're still working. All right, one of the first things we're going to do this job is pull this hydrofoil off. Well, I ain't doing it with that socket. Just to get it out of the way to make things easier. So that's one thing about outboards. Everything's a fight the whole way. Carter pin's totally rusted off on my prop shaft here. I'll have to try to get that out. Let me get a BFH and a screwdriver or a punch or something and see what I can get. So the hydrofoil's in the way of the lower unit, and the prop's in the way of the hydrofoil, and the Carter key on the hydrofoil is totally rusted off. I mean, the Carter key on the prop is totally rusted off. Oh, the joys of working on old outboards. So we got the old Carter key totally rusted in there. So what I'll do, put a block of wood between the prop and just take the prop nut off. So that's a 13/16 inch socket. Get that. And you can see what it does. A soft Carter key, it just cuts it out. Cuts it out, cuts a little bit of the brass. No big deal. You know that prop ain't just gonna slide off either. That's where your BFH comes in. Bushing, you don't want to lose that. It's moving. Man, easier than I thought. You want to take these off regularly and check for string behind them and keep this shaft greased. Even though it looked rusty, you can see there's no fishing line back here. Shaft's in good shape. I'll have to clean out that Carter keyhole. Do that with a punch and we'll be in business. Alright. Alright, now to drop the lower unit, we got to take this screen off and undo the shift linkage inside there. We got a screw from each side. Then what I'll do is I'll screw it back together, keeping them on parts bin so I don't lose anything. Alright, right inside of here is like a compression fitting on the props, on the gear selector shift shaft. It takes 2 1/2-inch wrenches. So you hold one side and loosen the other. And there's not much room to work in here. There we go. Alright, once you get the top piece done, you slide it up so you can slide this bottom one down now. Because there's a little plastic snap piece in there we got to get out to. Okay. See, once I wedge it, I got it down. Alright. So the reason we opened that up was to get this little plastic piece right here off of there. That's like a packing gland fitting. It's got a little split in it you can open up and you can remove it. But the trick is not to lose it. Outboards are expensive, but outboard parts are insane. So OMC wants $9.50 for this little plastic clip. That's insanity. Don't want to lose that. So with this loose, you can take the lower unit off. And we got to make sure we get this piece when it comes out. Okay, the only thing holding the lower unit on now is these 4 7/16 inch bolts and this 1/2 inch nut in the front of the lower unit. So when I washed it the other day, I sprayed all these with PB Blaster, penetrating lubricant, WD-40, whatever you got, and I broke them all loose. So they should come out relatively easy. And that's the key word, is should. So we got the nut off of there, and see if there's a washer. We'll take these four bolts out. So I'm gonna pull these 4 bolts out, and before I try to drop it, I'm going to pull the lower unit plugs and see what kind of oil we got in this thing. Are the seals good, or how far I got to go into it? So before I take this last bolt all the way out, I'm gonna leave it in there to try to let it catch the lower unit. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have some luck with this one. We might get lucky. Usually they're corroded at this front. Usually they're corroded right here around this, and that's where you're gonna have your hard time getting them out. Since it does look like she's gonna come, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these lower unit drain plugs and see what the oil looks like. So we'll pull our vent plug out to where it'll drain, and then we'll pull our lower plug out and see what our fluid looks like. You want to use as big a screwdriver as you can in these, where you don't booger them up like I'm doing. I'd have to save that for another date. Alright, well, we'll do surgery on that on the bench. It looks like the lower unit's coming good though. Yeah, look at there. There we go. Beautiful. Well, that came out good. That one felt kind of tight, that first one. Do them all in a sequence. All right. This don't look bad anywhere. The O-rings are all still intact. Let's see what's going on inside this housing. No excessive wear like it's ran in sand or anything. Okay, the impeller came up. It's hard as a rock though. So we don't want to make sure we don't lose our little keyway right there. Our impeller keyway. And we get some new gaskets in this thing and we'll be in good shape. Top seal looks good. Doesn't look like it's corroded bad around it either. Plate's not scored. A little bit. See, inside the housing's not scored. I think I'm gonna order a whole kit though and save these for spares. Yeah, there's a few wear rings right up in here. I think the best thing to do would be go with a whole new kit, plate, everything. So I took a round face punch and a small ball peen hammer, and I give this a bop on the edge to be able to get it to come loose to drain. So let me pull the vent plug. Let's see what we got in this lower unit. hoping there ain't no water in it. Well, that answers that question. Well, I think that's just a little bit of condensation. Well, as you can see, ended up drilling out the old quarter pin. I didn't want to beat on the shaft with a punch too much and rack a gear or a seal or anything, so drill it was. So that did it, ended up drilling the hole out. Alright, what I'm doing now, I got some soapy water around the seal here and around this seal here, and I'm pressuring it up to 10 psi. You can hear it's pressuring up the lower unit. No leaks out of either one of those two. Let me lay it down to where I can get to the back seal. Alright, I got a lot of blow-by out that seal, as you can see. Well, the shift knob seal and the upper water pump seal held pressure, but you can see when I put 10 pounds on these seals, then my main shaft seal shot there. Well, that answers that question. Alright, that's a quick rundown of the motor. So we got a leaking seal here. So we'll get some seals ordered. Might just go ahead and order them all. Water pump, motor mounts, twist grip. And we'll rebuild this baby. Okay, on the next video, part 2, we'll go through changing out all the motor mounts, some broken bolt extraction, and grinding, sanding, and getting some primer on some of the bare spots. So stay tuned for part 2.